Hello, everybody. I'm just going to wait a little bit, see if other people catch up to me. Da-da-bum, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. Ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-da-ba-ba-bum. Bum, 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 bum. Ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. I am actually drawing. I'm hoping to have this done by tonight. It's Totem Tuesday. And if you follow me on my Facebook page, every Tuesday is Totem Tuesday. Hi, Lasati! And if I can get my drawing done in time before midnight and I can get it posted, this is going to be our Totem Tuesday this week. So, hello, everybody. Um, I just wanted to come on today and um, I've announced in different places that this coming Thursday, I am beginning a year-long course on shamanism called Deepening the Journey. The idea being that when I went through my 2-year shamanic training with Sandra Ingerman, I remember one of her teacher assistants saying that once you know how to do a shamanic journey, all the other classes are just basically learning what questions to ask. And so in this course, it's a monthly course, 3 hours each month on Zoom, and we will get together and talk about different aspects, not just talk about, actually experience, right? So we will explore experientially different aspects of shamanism. Basically, I actually have on my website. I'm way behind in things, but on my description on the website, it says that there's a prerequisite that you should already know how to do a shamanic journey. But I've decided to take that off of it. Hi, Daniel. Welcome. And so I'm talking. Okay, now there's some people coming in. So hello, everybody. Welcome. Come on in. Good to see you all. If you don't know me, I am Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman. And I just came on today to kind of have a conversation about shamanism, about what it's like to be a shaman, and mostly kind of in anticipation to this course I have starting on Thursday. So there's still time to sign up. There's still time, still room for people to sign up. And I just wanted to get on and kind of talk about it and about shamanism. And if people have questions about any of that, um, I can answer some questions too. But I wanted to for this course. It's a year-long course or 6 months. I've got a thing where you can just sign up for 6 months. If a year is too long to commit to, we have a 6 month. You can do either the first 6 months or the second 6 months, or you can sign up for the first 6 months. And if you like it, you can sign up for the second 6 months. If you sign up for the entire year, you get a little bit of a discount. And all the information about that class can be found on my website at perchingwolfstudios.net. If you go to the upcoming events and classes page, it's like the second in line. Um, like I said, I've been kind of behind on things and I haven't, there's still the class there that I taught last week that I haven't taken out, but it's the second, it's Deepening the Journey. And what it's going to be is every month, um, and I've been teaching this for 10 years. Um, And the reason I started was I took a shamanic journeying class way back when, at the beginning of my shamanic experiences. And we got done. And I asked the teacher, like, well, what now? And she was like, I don't know. Go do stuff. And I was like, but what do we do? And like I said just a little bit earlier, someone said to us at one point that once you know how to do a shamanic journey, everything else is knowing what questions to ask. And so I thought I would come on as kind of in anticipation of this course coming up Thursday, um, and talk about shamanism, talk a little bit about myself. Hi, new girly. Talk about myself, why I teach this, who I am, like who am I to be teaching this, et cetera, et cetera. And so I hope you, even if you don't take my course, I hope you enjoy this talk. And if you have questions about the course or questions about anything, um, well, thank you, new girly. I hope the same for you. Have a blessed day today, tomorrow, and forever. Thank you. Um, so, um, as I said, I am Patrick Corrigan. I am the proprietor of Perching Wolf Studios. And the reason it's studios is because not only am I a shaman, but I am a cartoonist as well. Um, I was just drawing that before I started the video. And I have been I have been on the shamanic, well, let me start over. A lot of people are like, well, how did you get into shamanism? When did you know you were a shaman? When did it start? How did you know? And um, it's kind of a loaded question because like many things, especially on the spiritual path, it's like you find out something or you discover something and it's like a rediscovery. Like you learn something new and you realize, oh my God, that's the way I've always done things, right? So, just my own background and who I am to teach this class and why I teach. So I was raised Catholic, um, and I always joke that had I been in the Middle Ages, I would have been probably killed as a heretic because I was always on the fringe, on like the mystical fringe of Catholicism, and um, had the audacity to speak to God in one-on-one without going through the intercession of the saints or talking to Mother Mary or someone else. You know, God's too important to talk to. And like that is one thing about shamanism is that it's about direct revelation. It's about connecting to your spirits and getting your guidance from the source, literally. So anyway, I was raised Catholic, and my family, so I'm Irish, by mostly Irish. I'm like 51% Irish or something like that. Um, and the Corrigan clan from Ireland has always throughout history been filled with like the religious leaders and lots of nuns and priests and monsignors and bishops and all that kind of thing. And when I was born, I'm the oldest of five. I am an American. I'm an Irish American. Um, that's funny. But it was always assumed by everybody, including myself, that I was going to become a priest. Um, and in fact, when I was baptized, the priest who baptized me was a friend of the family, and I don't know exactly what he did differently, but I'm told that when he baptized me, he said extra things or did something extra that you do to like to an initiate of the priesthood or something. So like from literally from birth, literally from my baptism, I was slated to be a holy person. Um, and I did. I grew up when every, we go to mass every Sunday, sometimes more than once a week. And instead of memorizing the response parts in the mass, I memorized the priest part, and I would say the priest's part along with the priest. So I was always really spiritual. I went to Catholic school from first grade all the way through college. And I actually remember being really disappointed because I'm like, oh, cool. I'm going to a Catholic school. We're going to talk about God and spiritual stuff. And like, no, like we had religion class and stuff like that, but nobody else was that interested in it. So, um, till I got to college. And when I got to college, I actually went to college at St. John's University in Minnesota. That's where I'm from. As I said, Minnesota, you probably heard the oh, um, and that is a Benedictine monastery. So I went to college at a Benedictine monastery, and I did consider going into the Brotherhood, but at that point, that's when I met my future ex-wife, and she was a witch. And so I was introduced to Wicca and paganism and that kind of thing. And I had already been dabbling in Eastern philosophies. Like I had discovered Adam Watts um, a while before that, and I was reading about Zen and Taoism, and I still to this day love Taoism. That's one of my default settings. But I learned about paganism, and as I remember distinctly when she was telling me the kind of the creation myth around um, Wiccan beliefs. And I'm sitting there listening to it after going through, 20 some odd years of Catholic school, hearing the creation story over and over and over and over again. And she told it. And I'm like, it's the same story. The genders are different, but it's the same story. And so even today, I still joke about how I still, I don't know if worship is the right word anymore, but I still pray to the same God I did when I was a kid. But the only difference is that she grew a womb, right? And so anyway, so I started on this path, and we moved out here to Washington, to the Seattle area, got involved in some pagan groups out here, started going to pagan ceremonies and rituals, observing the Sabbats. And hi, Maria. I'm not really doing I'm not really doing readings right now. This is more of a informal conversation about shamanism. I don't actually have my cards right here. But what I will tell you, if you want to, as soon as we're done here, I don't think I've done it yet. I just finished uploading Monday nights, last night's mini medicine card readings to my YouTube channel, and I will post that to my Facebook and stuff. And but if you look on my YouTube channel, it should be up there, and it have last night's date. And just choose a card. We only did 4 last night instead of 5, but choose a card between 1 and 4 and listen to that. And I promise that it will. Oh, it's 3 a.m. where you are. Wow, in Norway. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining. Um, and it is like I'm kind of on a little limited schedule here, and I'm out here for a purpose to talk about shamanism and a course I have coming up. But if you go on to my go on my YouTube channel, look up you if you hit the get the playlist for mini medicine card readings, and choose a number between 1 and 4, and pay attention to that card, listen to that, what that message is. I promise that it will have something to say to you. Okay. So anyway, so I became pagan when we moved out here, and then on a fateful day in the early 2000s, or was it even earlier than that, I found the book, um, The Way of the Shaman by Michael Harner. And I read that book, and as I'm reading, tears are just streaming down my face. Um, because, like I mentioned earlier, it wasn't so much a discovery of something or something I wanted to aspire to. It felt like coming home, like what the way I related to the world and the universe had a name. And um, so I wasn't weird in a bad way. Um, and it's like it was like a coming home feeling. Like I really felt like coming home, like everything was familiar. Um, but my at the time wife, um, this was a whole different time. I was a whole different person. She kind of ran the roost, and she basically forbade me to practice any. I could still read about it, but she's like, "You can't be a shaman because you're not Native American." And what's interesting about that is that most Native American tribes don't have shamans; they have medicine people. Um, they don't recognize their holy people as shamans. They recognize them as medicine people. Um, but anyway, and so for a while I read everything I could, and then when I finally, um, interestingly, I went through what was basically my shamanic healing crisis. And I went through a decade of extreme anxiety and panic attacks. And traditionally, that like traditionally, a shaman is faced with a life or death circumstance, either like an accident or a sickness, an illness. My illness just happened to be anxiety, and it lasted for like 10 years. And um, when I finally came through that, one of the first things I did was got a divorce. And once I got a divorce, one of the first things I did was took a shamanic journey class. And that was the turning point. It was like once I took that one class, once I knew how to journey, it's like there was no stopping me. It was like, again, like such, it was so familiar to me. It was so natural to me. And so, like traditionally, shamans will be faced with that birth, life or death kind of thing. You might say, well, it's just anxiety. It wasn't really, weren't really in any danger, but um, every single day for 10 years, I woke up thinking it was my last day on earth because couldn't see how my physical body could handle any more anxiety or any more stress. Um, And so I literally walked with death. I never knew. Every time a panic attack started, I was having anywhere between 3 and 6 panic attacks every day. And so every time a panic attack started, I'd be like, oh crap, is this it? or every time I had a what do you call heart palpitation or anything like that. It was like, oh, here I go. See ya. Bye. So I walked with death every single day for an entire decade. Um, and then through the use of spiritual, psychological, physical means, I was able to rise out of that again, basically come back to life. Um, and so even though we aren't in traditional shamanic communities anymore, those there is a basis for all those traditions. There's a basis in the stories. There's a basis in what actually happens, and it translates into the modern world. It's not just, oh, I was attacked by a tiger, so I became a shaman. It's like, no, I dealt with anxiety for a decade. So that was my initial shamanic awakening, shamanic healing crisis. And then I started I started taking I took that I took the like an introduction class. I started taking other shamanic classes, getting involved. At the time there was quite an active shamanic community in Seattle. And so I was going to all kinds of different classes and events and different things and drum circles and um, just loving it. And then I read the book Soul Retrieval by Sandra Ingerman. And again, that was such a coming, it was like, this is exactly what I believe. This is exactly how I know the universe works for healing and wholeness and all that. And so I actually was able to take, um, I learned soul retrieval from Sandra Ingerman, literally the woman who wrote the book on it. So, and then I took a number of other workshops with her, with Tom Cowan. Um, During the pandemic, I took some shamanic classes with John Lockley, so I started branching out into more internationally known. But Sandra Ingerman has basically been my teacher for a very long time. She's kind of my go-to. In fact, every once in a while, I'll still like email her and ask her a question or something if I encounter something that I've never encountered before. But I did take her 2 year teacher training, shamanic teacher training, and so um, that is why I teach. I actually took a class on how to teach shamanic journey, and um, when I went during that class, we had to do a shamanic journey that to meet our guide, to meet the spirit guide who was going to help us with our teaching, be kind of our teacher's assistant in a way. Um, and so I met my owl Hortense. Hortense, here's a who. My my guides are they're all goofballs. Ah, um, anyway, so I met Hortense and we journeyed to see like what would be the focus of our teaching. And we're sitting in an apartment um in Seattle in the U district above the freeway, and all of a sudden a car alarm started going off below us. And I could hear everyone else grumbling and complaining. They came out of their journeys, and I'm like, no, everything I've learned so far tells me that there is a reason for everything. Everything has, a reason for when it happens, especially when you're in ceremonial space, right? And so I'm like, so what is this horn? What does this horn mean? What is the message here? And all of a sudden it hit me. Pew. It was Herbie the love bug. Um, And for those of you who may be younger who don't know who Herbie is, Herbie was a Disney movie series of movies. I've actually got the box set. Um, and Herbie was um, a Volkswagen Beetle with the number 53 on it that had basically come to life. And it was that as a double feature with The Jungle Book were the first movies I remember ever seeing in the theater. Actually, it was in a drive-in theater. So Herbie has been a big symbol for me for a long time. And so all of a sudden I've got this horn honking. I'm like, what is this? What does this mean? They're like, oh my God, it's Herbie. And the message was that everything has a voice. Everything is alive. And so that's one of my main points that I try to teach people is that awareness that everything is alive, that you can talk to anything. I was in a animal communication class one time, and that was kind of the point of this day. And the teacher was like, "Okay, want you to choose something in the room, and we're going to go into a meditation, and I want you to talk to that item, whatever it is." And most people chose either dog, like pets that were in the room, or flowers, something organic. And I'm like, I'm going to talk to the couch. And so we went into that space and I started talking to the couch. And this couch was just so happy. Like it was excited and just bubbling over with joy. And I was like, okay, that's awesome. I'm sitting on a really happy couch. And so then when we came back to our normal space and we're talking about our experiences, I mentioned that and I said, this couch is just so happy to have people sitting on it. And the woman whose house we were in, her eyes just got really big. And she was like, oh my God. Hi, Charles, welcome. Um, Her eyes got really big. And she goes, oh my God. She's like, that couch is normally out on the porch and nobody ever sits on it. But because we had the extra people for the class, we pulled it into the living room. And so this couch that I had been talking to was just so ecstatic to be fulfilling its purpose. It was so happy to be having people sitting on it. It could hardly contain itself. So you can literally talk to anything because there is no separation. Everything is spirit. Everything is the same energy. Like I used to follow this channel Bartholomew, and one of the things that he said was, whatever it is God. There is nothing else, right? And God is love. So whatever it is love. There's no other power in the universe. Anyway, so um, that's kind of, and then, and I've been like, I've been keeping a blog. You can check out my blog, no, Golden Thread Road was my original blog. And then I kind of finished that and started a new one called Wind Buffalo Journeys because I had gotten a new spirit name. And so I started a new blog. And I haven't been keeping that one up as much, but I have tons of experiences in my blog. If you're curious, all these different shamanic encounters, different conversations with my guides, different miracles that happen, and that kind of thing. And so, I have been literally meant for um, a holy life since the day I was born. It's like that, it was like destiny. and everyone expected me to become a priest. And in a way, I have, just not a priest in um, the religion they thought, right? But so that is who I am. That is where I came from. That's kind of the story leading up to who I am, and and um, why I'm teaching this upcoming course, Deepening the Journey. Um, because not everyone is called to be a shaman. To being a shaman is a vocation. It's you like a lot of people like, I want to be a shaman, I want to be a shaman, right? But you it's not your choice. The spirits call you. So in a way it's a choiceless choice. Either you say yes to them or you live a life that is other than what your purpose is, right? But it's like just like being a priest or a nun or a monk. It is calling from spirit. And like I said, my 10-year experience with panic attacks and extreme anxiety was kind of my initiation, my trial, life and death kind of experience to, you know, um, recognize that I was being called to be a shaman. In fact, in the heat of all of that, I actually went back to stay at my parents' house in Minnesota for a couple of months. And it was the middle of winter, but I would go on this 2 mile walk every day. It's snowing out. I'm My face is frozen, but I'm so bundled up that I'm sweating underneath my snow clothes, my snow jacket and coat and everything. But I would walk to this park and back. And at the park, I would stop and I would talk to my spirit guides, and I was like, "What the hell's going on? Why is this happening to me? I know better. I know there's no basis um, in any of these anxieties. I know there's no reason for me to be feeling this way. So what the heck is going on?" And my guide, it was Yeshua, Jesus. Um, and he was like, because you're not carrying just your own stuff with you. He was like, you are carrying, um, how did he put it? The energy and things from the people in the future who you are going to help. And at first glance, that might be like, well, crap, why am I having to carry everyone else's stuff? Right? It's like, why do I have to carry this stuff? And you would think it would make you feel heavier. But for me, it actually lightened the load because I'm like, I can handle my own crap. Right. And to me, it was like, okay, I'm carrying all this stuff, but rather than, me having to, pack it forward for the sake of others, to me, I could see clearly it was other people reaching back through time, taking my hand and drawing me forward. In other words, it's like from that point forward, I knew I was going to come out of it because there were people waiting on the other side. There were people on the other side of this in the future who were going to need my help and my experience through all of that. And that was kind of a turning point in my experience with anxiety and such, um, because it always felt like there was that became kind of the North Star. That became when everything else was dark and listless and hopeless. It was like I always had that. Okay, there's people that are drawing me forward. People who are manifesting me in their future present time to help them get through what they're getting through. Um, so anyway, and so Um, that is my personal journey and experience with spirituality. I mean, I've always been spiritual. I've always been um, on the mystical side of things, and um, it was inevitable that I would step into this life as a shaman. It was like the more I look back, people are like, "Well, when did you know? When did you start being a shaman?" It's like I always was. It just took me a long time to realize that, to rediscover that path. And um, so that's me. Um, and I just like, I love teaching people. I love watching the lights go on in people's souls, in people's minds. And like this course that I'm going to be teaching, Deepening the Journey, every month we're going to do well, the intention is to do at least 2 journeys during the 3 hours that we are together. And so each month we will delve into a different aspect of shamanism, right? We're going to learn what different guides we can meet, who we can work with. We're going to journey to meet the elements and to merge with the elements to find out what it's like to be water or what it's like to be flame. Um, and that's what shamanism is really about. Maybe I should talk about shamanism for a bit, um, of what it actually is. And, you know, people have these ideas, like we have like the sorcerer's apprentice, right? And wizards, and we think about wizards and sorcerers and all these things. But there's always in the Hollywood things, and it's like there's always this, or it seems like usually there's this um, presence of manipulating the natural forces, right? It's like, oh, I can like, and I've even heard spiritual people doing this, like in the pagan community. It's like, oh, you don't mess with me, my guides will take you out. It's like that is not spiritual. That is so not cool. Because if they were, I can go into a whole bunch of different stuff and try to keep off the tangents. Um, but um, gosh dang it, I went on that tangent and I lost my train of thought. Um, but okay, so starting over, what is shamanism? Shamanism is the oldest known spiritual practice to humankind. Um, It arose around the globe at the same time over 100,000 years ago. Every culture had shamanism. It was like the 100th monkey thing, right? It's like the time was right, we hit critical mass, and boom. Um, Shamanism came into every culture on the planet. And I believe it's the same. It was the same time that art was created, because I think like up to that point we were such a part of nature, right? That we couldn't we couldn't objectively step back and see ourselves, right? But something happened at that time, and I've heard different theories about that's when we started to um, have more fish as a main diet, different things, but our brains took kind of a quantum leap to the point where we could objectively step back from nature and observe nature, observe the world around us. And so, as advanced as that was for the mental realm, for ourselves as a race, um, that led to all the advancements, right? This that we see now. Um, it created this space between we were no longer ensconced in nature. We thought of ourselves as separate from nature. So there was this gap, right? And when that gap opened up, that's when the shaman was born, because the shaman is they talk about the shaman being the one who walks with a foot in both worlds, the spirit realm and the physical realm. So the shaman's job is to be that bridge. The shaman was originally the doctor, the pharmacist, the teacher, the counselor, the priest, all of those things wrapped into one. Um, the shaman was the one who would communicate with the spirits and give guidance to the people, right? Um, and I think at that same time, it's like shamanism and art go hand in hand, because at that is the point where mythology was born, where symbology was born, like all the cave paintings, etc. Because we weren't ensconced in nature, we needed representations to symbolize nature or our relationship with it, right? And so the shamans rose in different cultures all around the planet. Um, oh, I need to grab my and of course there are so many different flavors, right? The word shaman actually comes from Siberia. Um, and I just the starts with a T. The tribe that it came from just kind of jumped out of my head. But Michael Harner, the one who wrote The Way of the Shaman, the book I mentioned earlier, Michael Harner was an anthropologist who worked with all kinds of like peoples all over the globe, cultures all over the globe. And so he encountered shamans in all these different places. You know, each place had its own traditions, its own flavor. And what he basically did was created what he called core shamanism. He basically took all the traditions and the culture out of it and just took from it just those commonalities that existed in all forms of shamanism, which I love because that is what I teach. When we're doing this course, it's a course basically in core shamanism, because we're utilizing the basic tools that are common to all shamans, but it's like the skeleton that we are then fleshing out. And so we will learn, I will teach you how to, what beings, what spirits, what realms that we can journey to, who are your guides, what are the culture, like we have three kinds of ancestors: ancestors of blood, which is our heritage; ancestors of um, spirit, which are not necessarily of the culture we were raised in. Um, but for instance, when I did my first vision quest, Sitting Bull showed up to me, and he actually thanked me, even though like before I mentioned, I'm like 51% Irish and kind of a European mutt of the rest of the genetics. He thanked me for honoring them by um, doing one of their ceremonies, and he said, "We may not be your ancestors of blood, but we are your ancestors of spirit." And it wasn't until probably 10 years later that I actually heard that again in a class with Tom Cowan about ancestors of spirit. And so, again, like the same way that you don't choose to be a shaman, the spirits choose you. Um, and it's the same, like a lot of times the spirit guides that you work with, you can seek out certain spirits or ancestors or heroes or whatever, um, which is the third ancestor. The third ancestors, ancestors of story, like the heroes you were raised with, whether they're real or fictional, right? Like Xena, I still wear the chakram. Xena is one of my ancestors of story, and I won't go into that whole thing. That's a story for another time. But um, so this class, you're going to be meeting the different spirits, and you know, at this point, um, there are so many different spiritual traditions, right? And you might, your guides, your spirit, the spirits that show up to work with you may be from any and all of those, or they may be particular, right? Like for instance, you know, I've been doing this for um 15, 18 years, something like that, professionally as a shaman. And um the spirits that a lot of the spirit guides that show up, like the more human like spirits that show up, have been I've got a number of Native American spirit guides, like Sitting Bull, right? And I just thought it was this random assortment of Native Americans, right? But um, when I started to like look at who they were and actually Google them, and it is one of the coolest things to have a spirit guide show up that you've never heard of. And then you Google them and you find out, oh my God, that was a real person, right? And so I've got a few of those, like, and the Native American guides that have shown up, and they're from different tribes and such, but at the same time, they're all part of the greater Sioux Nation. And so there's this bind binder to them, that it's not just random. It's there is like a pattern to it. And so a lot of my practice, because of who my guides are, appears Native American, right? Um, oh, I just found a random feather. Ha um, and so it's interesting. It's like, so no matter who you are, no matter what your heritage is, shamanism is your birthright. It is in your blood. And even though you may not be called to be a shaman, everybody can practice shamanic practices, because what shamanism truly is, and I know I'm probably like all over the map when explaining things, and but um, what shamanism really is the relationship between the shamanic practitioner and their spirit guides, which is why it has lasted for over 100,000 years, why it is still pertinent today, because every, like I said earlier, like every shaman has different guides, has different background, comes into the, you know, comes into it with different experience. So every shaman or every shamanic practitioner has a different unique form of shamanism. And through that year-long course, that is what um my goal is to help you find that unique um path, your unique path with your unique guides, whatever heritage they are, whatever ancestors, whatever traditions, to flesh out that skeleton of core shamanism. Um, and so things that we are going to explore, like I already mentioned, like journeying to meet and meld the with elements to find out what 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 does water experience? What does it feel like to be water? And when I first did that journey way back when, I found myself as part of Puget Sound, and it was such a beautiful experience. Like there were no boundaries, and I was just, it was like no resistance. It was it was beautiful, and it was like the only motion came from either like animals swimming through the sound, creating waves, or boats, or heat making like the hotter water rise and the cooler water sink. And so there was this total, it was awesome. It was amazing. So that is one of the things we will do. We will also journey to meet uh, a spirit guide that is your body protector, that you can call on to um, kind of in the everyday world. Like my body protector is a boar, wild boar. His name is Alice. Um, there's a long story there, but when I call on him, I feel him basically enveloping me and kind of invigorating me, um, so that when I walk down the street, I walk with more confidence. I walk with an energy um, that, how do I put it, does not invite conflict. Um, so you will meet like a body protector. We will journey to meet your ancestors. My guides are so funny. Um, so my boar, I'm pointing over there because I actually have a boar hide. Um, when I first did the journey to meet my body protector, I was hoping for like someone from the fairy realm or something like that. And this wild boar shows up. So I'm kind of disappointed. And he's like, it's okay. It's okay. I can do fairy. And he was, poof, and he just burst into all these fairy lights. And so he became my rainbow, or my aurora borealis. So that's where Alice came from. Um, a lot of times, like one of my guides is a dragon named Mike, and it's like Mike isn't really his real name. It's Makabada Bahawa something or other. And I'm like, can I just call you Mike? um, but see, and that is shamanism. It's the relationship and the trust that we build by doing journey work with our guides, by connecting with our guides on a daily basis, right? And what else? Like you will learn how to. One of the things we do is we journey into a dream, so that you can actually journey back into a dream that you had, and you can talk to um, all of the people or beings in your dream to find out, like, what is the message? What is, why are you here? What is your message, etc., etc. Um, and like I mentioned, my spirit name, one of my spirit names, Wind Buffalo. We will journey to find out what your spirit name is. Um, And it's such a wonderful experience of exploration. It's kind of like to boldly go where no one has gone before. Um, so I'm going to show you something real quick. So this is my wild boar hide, and I bought some of those the fairy hair tinsel things that you can put in your hair, and I've been sewing them into his hide so that he is my aurora borealis. Anyway, so and that is something else that we will learn is like creating masks and talismans, sacred medicine objects that are significant to us. We will meet our ancestors. We will journey, meet the. We won't go for more reasons than I can say at the moment. We won't actually travel into the fairy realm, but we will. I always like on the ancestor, like we always journey back to meet an ancestor, and then we always journey back to see if you've got fairy ancestry. See if any of your ancestors were fae. Um, and I don't think I've had one person yet that hasn't had some kind of fairy blood. Um, and then and then we do a whole thing on personal mythology and your own personal creation myth, how you relate to source, to creator, to goddess, whatever you call it. Um, and so there it's such a rich, lush tapestry of experience that I can promise you, if you take this course, you will not be the same person at the end as you are when you begin it. This will change you. Um, Sometimes in subtle ways and sometimes in not so subtle ways. And like I said, I've been teaching this for 10 years. So I have 10 years of teaching classes from anywhere from 3 to 6 people. And I've watched every single one of them go through some change or initiation of some sort. Um, and I get the best seats in the house. I get to watch these changes take place, and it is one of the benefits of my job as a shaman is getting to see other people fly. Like my job is not to bind anyone or throw rules on you or anything like that. My job is to empower you. And unlike other shaman schools or anything, um, I go with I default to Sandra Ingerman's teaching, and she basically hammered it into our hearts that um, it's not techniques that heal, it's love that heals. It's all about love. It's all about heart centered. It's about oneness. There is no separation. And so we are going on this exploration to boldly go where no one has gone before, into these realms where literally no one has gone before. You're like the trailblazer. And find out how the universe works and to be able to start recognizing the synchronicities and to create your own mythologies and stories, etc. Um, and so again, I hope that you can join me for this course. It starts Thursday, this coming Thursday at 6 o'clock Pacific time, and then it's 3 hours every month on the third Thursday. and we will do, the goal is at least 2 journeys every each class. So we'll like kind of related things, but we'll do like a couple of different journeys. So it's very experiential, very hands-on. It's not just lecturing and hearing about shamanism. This is deepening your journey, deepening the journey. You're going behind the scenes, behind the curtain. Um, and so I hope people will be called to that. And um, I haven't had a lot. Part of the reason I'm doing this video is I haven't had, this is the first time I've offered it that I haven't really had a lot of response. And so I wanted to come on and talk about myself as the teacher, talk about shamanism, talk about things that you could look forward to in this course to help maybe whet people's appetite, to get people maybe needing a little bit of a propping up to know what it is and to feel called. Um, and I would like to end with I want to do a I want to whether you know how to do a shamanic journey or not, I thought I would end with a guided shamanic journey. I thought that we would journey to meet a shaman ancestor of yours. And I have never done this before, so I don't know. I have no expectations. I don't know what's going to happen. But first, I am going to set sacred space. I realize I didn't do that before this video. But if we're going to do a journey, a shamanic journey is literally a ceremony. And when we do ceremony, we want to do ceremony in sacred space, which is another thing I teach you in this class. Um, Not so much to like protect ourselves from all those evil things that want to eat our souls, but as a focus, like how you take a pot when you're cooking and you put all the ingredients in and you cover it and you turn on the heat, you create a whole different alchemical environment inside of that pot that doesn't exist on the counter, right? So we call in the sacred space to create an energetic container where things can happen that don't happen just out in the ordinary reality, right? So I'm going to do that now. Spirits of the earth, spirits of the air, spirits of the fire, spirits of the water, spirits of the upper world, spirits of the lower world, passionate spirits of the middle world, the fae, the spirits of the land, the ancestors of the land. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for holding us in your love and your light. All right. So now that we are in sacred space, I'm gonna softly drum just to kind of keep keep things going. And we'll do a guided meditation to meet a shaman ancestor. And if you're having questions about taking this course or anything, you'll have an opportunity to ask this ancestor who is a shaman, um, what what do you need to know right now? What message might they have for you? Okay, so so go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in, hold it for a moment, let it go. Take another deep breath in and hold it, let it go. Feel the support of the ground, the floor, the chair, wherever you are sitting or reclining. Feel the support holding you, supporting you. Relax as your breath returns to its regular rhythm. With every exhale, let go of any remaining resistance or tension. Take another deep breath in, let it go. Now I want you to bring your attention to your third eye in the middle of your forehead. And as though it were one of your regular eyes, I want you to open it up and look into your imagination. And you find yourself at the edge of this beautiful meadow. There's the coolness of trees behind you. You're right at the tree line. There's the warmth radiating off of the grasses ahead of you from the sun himself. You hear the bird song, and you see a great flat rock in the middle of the meadow. So you start to walk toward that. You feel the grasses rubbing against your legs, against your fingertips, the buzz and the click of insects, dragonflies, butterflies. The air is alive with rainbows of colors as you continue to walk toward this stuff. And when you get there, you climb up, you feel the warmth of the sun-warmed stone beneath you. You feel the sun, warmth of the sun on your face. You feel a slight breeze, maybe rustling your hair or rustling your clothes, just enough to keep you comfortable. And from this point in this magical meadow, we call to a shaman ancestor. We ask them to meet us here in this place between the worlds. They may just appear, they may walk onto the trees. They may be human, they may be other. We just wait and allow them to come. Maybe a man, maybe a woman, maybe other. We just sit with an attitude of expectant curiosity, expecting something to happen. Curiosity of what and who. When this being shows up in front of you, I want you to look into their face, look into their eyes, and see the love just welling up, the love they have for you, the pride they have for you. And hug them if they are receptive, or if you want to, and shake their hand and greet them and thank them for being and passing on their best traits to you. And I'm going to pause for a moment in silence, give you a chance to ask the shaman, foremother or forefather of yours, anything you want to ask. If you have no questions, then ask, what is your message for me? What do I need to know at this moment? I will be quiet for a minute or two and let you talk. You may hear an answer in words. You may get a complete thought just downloaded into your brain. You might feel the answer and not be able to put it into words. You might get images, and you may get nothing. That's okay too. Even if you sit here in this beautiful meadow, you are still connected to spirit. You are still connected to all your ancestors. And know that you have called them. And if you're calling them, they will appear, maybe not in this moment, but in your dreams or in your imagination in the days to come. There is no getting this wrong. There is no failure. And so, having gotten our answer, or at least connecting to our shaman ancestor, it is time to bid them farewell, let them go back from whence they came, knowing that you have just created a bond everlasting that you can access. You can return to this meadow at any time to talk to them. Or if you know how to journey, you can journey back to their own time, speak to them there, seek guidance. But now it's time to say goodbye, hug them again, or wave, thank them for being there. And as they turn or begin to fade away, it's time to bring your attention back to the physical realm, to the room that or the space that you are in. Become aware once more of the floor or the chair, couch, whatever you are sitting on. Becoming aware of the things around you, the sounds, the scents. Coming back into your physical body. You can wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, you can tap on your legs or your shoulders to bring you back fully into your physical body. And when you are ready, at your own pace, you can slowly open your eyes, coming back complete and whole. Oh. So I hope you guys got something out of that. I had no idea where that was going to go or what I was even going to say. So um, that was beautiful. I actually saw, I didn't get to interact as much, but I saw an ancestor that I have never met before. So I'm looking forward to later on journeying back and meeting them for real. Um, but like I said, if no one showed up or if you didn't get a message, that's okay. You can go back. I'm going to post this right away onto my YouTube channel. So you can go back and re-listen, redo that journey, and maybe a second or third time it might help. Or you pay attention to your dreams or pay attention to, just pay attention to the world around you. All of a sudden, you might start seeing um, articles or posts about a particular group of people or particular culture or about shamanism from a certain place, or it can show up in so many different ways. You're so welcome, Charles. You're so welcome. And so I wanted to give you at least a taste of what you will find in this course. Um, if you've never had a shamanic experience before, I hope that you had something happen. Um, and again, the class is called Deepening the Journey, a Year of Shamanism. Of course, like I said, you can sign up for just 6 months at a time if that works better for your schedule. You get a discount if you sign up for the whole year, but it's a monthly class, 3 hours each month. Um, and I'm hoping to keep it small and intimate. Um, but we will explore each month a different aspect of shamanism. We will journey, actually go into the spirit realm and meet the spirits, interact with the spirits, and teach you how to gain your own guidance to become kind of self-reliant. It's like I said, it's direct revelation. There's no middleman. You go straight to your guides and you get the answers. And so um, thank you for joining me. Even if you're watching this, watching the replay, if you didn't see me live, I hope, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you were at least able to get a little tidbit of expansion or lightness or learn something, right? So um, check out my website, perchingwolfstudios.net. The and the upcoming events and classes page on my website. That's where you'll find all the information for that course. It's got the buttons on there where you can just register right there. And you just register 1 month at a time. So you don't have to pay like the whole, it's for the 6 month, it's 150 a month. For the year, it's 125 a month. But I also um, have been known to do trade or sliding scale or payment plans. So, oh, Charles, you're in Australia? Let me know. Depending on how many people sign up, if you're really interested, that might be, we might, we can be a little flexible, right? We can accommodate because it's 6 o'clock Pacific time, so we're not sure what that is Australian time. But um, I will look into that and find out. So anyway, um, this was fun. I think this was also kind of a dry run. I'm planning on starting a podcast soon, and so just getting on and just talking about shamanism, talking about my own experience and stuff was kind of helpful for me as well. So thank you so much for being here. Um, so this week, tomorrow night is my sacred pipe, my weekly sacred pipe ceremony at 6 o'clock Pacific time, um, right here on my YouTube channel. Thursday is the first of that course, um, deepening the journey, and it will be awesome. I don't say that lightly, and I don't just say that trying to convince people to take it, right? But the people have come through that in the last decade. Um, it's been amazing. So, what else? And I guess that is it for now. So, thank you again for listening. Um, I hope you learned something. I hope to see you again soon. And until I see you again, know that I love you, that I see you, that I honor you. Have a wonderful day, wonderful rest of your day, wherever in the world you are, and go shining. All right.